Anything on your eye? I ain't get anything yet. Is the link I'm waiting for? Okay. All right, I've seen you. So what to do here now? Yeah. So what to do here now? Yeah. So what to do here now? What's up? What's up? No. Pass on. No, that you have to remember, eh? So we are sending out the links because we had a hell of an evening. So don't worry, I'll share it with you all when we start. We had a hell of an evening. We're listening to Onaga. That you have to remember, eh?
Take down your volume.
Uh, Somebody's asking what we're listening to.
Just like that. You pick me up, you turn me around, make my freedom fall down. Because you heal my heart, you change my life, forever free, I'm never free. All right. All right. So, pleasant good afternoon to all. Welcome to good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for those that will tune in now and those that will tune in after. You know, it is truly a pleasure to be before you this afternoon. It is a lot, let me tell you, a lot that has been taking place. But nevertheless, I said that we will be here and we are here. I don't care what happened. So much took place for this not to happen. But nevertheless, we are here. So, so much good things in store this evening. I am grateful for those who even partake of being a person that put themselves forward to really make this, this come to pass this afternoon. So, the Council of Refuge podcast episode 1, we're about to kick off. The first topic is a hot topic, is a topic that we know that is one that caused a lot of controversy. It is a lot of persons that share different views concerning this topic. So this evening, I have with me a special guest that, she has gone through the process of divorce and she is not just ready to tell her story, but she is also ready to level up, ready to open her heart and her mind to new possibilities. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to our special guest for this evening, Miss Katian Luke. Katian, good evening. How are you, honey?
I am blessed and highly favored, Miss Sadasa, to be here on this podcast. And it's truly an honor. I give God all the honor and the glory this afternoon.
Nice, nice, nice. I know that there has been a lot of things that we would have discussed behind the scenes. A lot of things that grounds that we would have touched with respect to your journey and what you have been
Yes.
through. So before we go even further, tell us a little about yourself.
Right. Tell you about
Who
Kathian.
is Kati? Who is Kati and Luke?
I am a devoted mother
Yes.
to my 6 beautiful children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a devoted person to friends and family. What to say? I am a true patriot of what is good, what is right. I believe in walking in integrity. I also believe that, you must always put your best foot forward in everything that you do,
Okay.
you know?
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So, with being the person that you are now, what I would like for you to describe for me, I mean, divorce is a procedure. I mean, I have seen some of the things that happen that goes on when someone actually goes through a divorce. I mean, being in my field of work in the legal profession, seeing persons have to battle for their children before the court and seeing how the damage is done psychologically to both the well, the then husband and the then wife. I mean, when you go at the altar and you make your vows, the last thing on your mind is divorce at the altar. And if divorce is on your mind, something is wrong with you. Just throwing that in there, right? So, at the altar, that's the last thing that you think about. That is your happily ever after moment. So, if you can share with me briefly and those that are listening in, what basically for you would be the what was the turning point that you realized that your relationship or your marriage was heading to the court, the family court, for want of a better term?
Um, for me, I realized that when the communication, first of all, broke down. Communication is also the major key that we use to interact. And when that is lost, well, the floodgates open for anything to happen, right? And
Yes.
what happened was that prior to leading up to the divorce, the communication was practically chaotic.
When you say chaotic, you mean as in your
Yeah,
miscommunications?
plenty. Like, all right, like for instance, I would be saying one thing, but it will be interpreted by my partner as something else. And then it will end up in an argument. So a lot of distortion took place, like misunderstanding. Like I would call and say, I can't talk right now, I'm busy. I'm probably in class or doing something. And they will take it as though I'm blowing them off, I'm not trying, I'm more making an effort, that kind of thing. And that is one of the key things that I observe really going into that mode there, because when communication shuts down, that's it, because there is no way to reach your partner to
Yes.
say anything.
Yes.
And you now start to run helter skelter, because anybody who is around you at that point in time, you will try to probably make access point to reach out.
Okay, okay. So I would say that based on what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
that the miscommunication would have been one of the aspects that kind of
Definitely.
brought the breakdown of the marriage.
Definitely.
But I always tell persons, in circumstances as these, it is really good to look at, all right, what part did I play? Or if I played any part whereby the miscommunication was intentionally put forward. So when I mean intentionally, as in, they have this saying, I said what I have to say, take it however you want it,
Yeah.
this kind of way.
Yes.
So I mean, and sometimes as women we could come
Come
off,
across
fly
that.
off at the mouth,
Definitely.
being the more emotional vessel. It actually puts us, I mean, in a place where we desire to be the dominant factor.
What?
So in your case now, I don't know if you could probably identify,
Yes, I can 100% identify with that, because everybody have a defense mechanism and the way how they treat with things, and you are 100% right in identifying that. I like the question.
mm-hmm.
For me, what I did was, like, when I started to get frustrated with the miscommunication, the lack of communication thereof, I was like, okay, so I don't need to be fighting this anymore. I'm gonna prove a point to you. So that was my taking accountability now, looking back then. I was like, I just shut down and I said, this is what I am doing to help us, and I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to focus on that. So, in a sense, I too shut down
Mm-hmm.
in my own way, because that was the mechanism that I was using at that time in the situation to cope with what was
What
happening.
was happening.
Yeah,
I'm liking how you could say that you took accountability
definitely.
for that moment of what transpired. And accountability is such a strong word, and it's a word that a lot of us run from. I mean, in anything in life, accountability is something that is needed for growth.
Definitely.
So I applaud that you're now at that place that you could say that you have taken accountability for your actions, where you actually, at that point, I think you would have been already at a state where you gave up.
Yes, I did.
So accountability would have been out the door, and the point that you wanted to get across was more important in that moment.
Yes,
Yeah. So
definitely.
I'm getting a sense of now, and that's just me sitting here and you speaking about it, right? I get in a sense of emotion coming from you, and I'm not sure if that emotion now is coming from you just realizing that you had to take accountability, or walking through the steps of it again.
I believe it is coming from a place of me saying that it's not just walking through the step of it, because when you are divorced, you have to walk through the step. It's not something that you could ignore. It's not something that you could turn a blind eye to, because remember now, there is a label on you when you are divorced, right? And the right thing to do is take accountability, even when it's hard to. It's almost like integrity. Integrity requires that even when people are not looking, you do what is right, right?
Yes.
So it's the same thing in going through a situation like this, where you have to own up and be honest with
About it.
yourself, and
Yeah.
and about the situation. Is not something you can ignore, because automatically a divorced woman come like damaged goods, like, for the
When
one
you
to
say
say.
damaged goods,
No,
like,
because of the way how society looks at marriage and divorce, because this is a controversial
yes,
topic,
yes.
right? And divorce is frowned upon, and from the time you say, somebody ask you, are you married? And I say, no, I'm divorced. They'll be like, okay. And that is where things get tricky, right? So I believe it's a daily walk in going through that process there, that part of it. Yeah.
Okay. So I know being part of the legal profession again, because that's where I could speak from with respect to the aspect of divorce. One of the things that is seen is that finances play a big role
Ooh,
with respect to
that is
marriage, with respect to like the decisions that are made in the home. Sometimes the man might want to buy a new car, and the finances may not be in the place to buy a new car. And he just decided to buy the new car, and he didn't even consult his wife. And it put them in a financial position. And this is just an example, you know. But being from that, coming from that sphere of seeing it, it puts now a discomfort in the home, and we now have to be now the ones that have to deal with this discomfort. And we are
Yes.
not only now legal persons, we are not only counsel before the court or in the office. We are now in a place where you become therapists, you become counselors, you become mediators of home disputes. And it's part of what you probably didn't sign up for. So from the financial aspect of things, if you could just share, generally, what would you advise basically the people with respect to decisions in the marital home and finances? Because I mean, I've seen it, I know what it does. I mean, but what you can share.
That is a beautiful question, and it's also a very debated one.
When
A
you
lot
say
of.
debated, like,
Right. Why I use the word debated is because of the fact that some people like the 50-50 method. Some people
oh,
like the method where the husband go out and work, the wife stay home with the family and the children and manage the affairs of the house. And then it have the career goal-centered individuals, both husband and wife might be motivated towards their career and they will invest a lot of time and energy towards that.
Okay, nice.
Right? And finances plays a very, very, very big part in marriages. A lot of marriages do break down because the lack thereof or too much pursuit
Behind
towards,
it.
behind
Okay,
it.
so for you, what would you say? Are you for the 50-50 in the home, or are you for the man that provides? Where are you where this is concerned?
To be honest, I honestly believe that being the man is the head. I will
Okay.
never take that away from the men. They are the head of the home. They are the pillar after God. There is God, there is man, there's the wife, there's the children. And I honestly believe, it might sound old-fashioned, it might sound outdated, but I believe the man should take the lead where provision is concerned.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that if something is to happen, the wife should also be capable to pick up the slack if it needs to be done. But this is my personal opinion where that is concerned. But everybody have their own thing that they would do according based to their lifestyle, their choices, their upbringing, background. All these things influence those types of decisions. But for me, I am very old-fashioned, and I honestly believe the man.
The man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we're in 2025 and so many unforeseen occurrences are happening, whereas now we have to prepare for anything. And, I would just share my view with respect to the 50-50, because in today's society, as much as it is upheld, and I really do respect that view, but I also want to shed a bit of light as well in perspective, in putting certain things into perspective. I'm thinking of a situation where, let's say, for instance, the man may have lost his job, and the woman is the one now that is bringing in the income in the home. I am thinking that the reasonable thinking woman would not just be the one that knows that she has to hold the fort in the moment, but she would also hold the fort without belittling that man. Because I think where the lack of finances come in, it kind of pounces on his pride. His ego is tainted.
That is
He
the
feels
truth.
less than. And I think the wife that he probably married, or should I say, if it is just a female he married and he thought he got a wife. So in that moment, I think is where it will actually, the test of time will now come about to know whether it is we are in this for the long run, or if he really married a wife, or if he married a female.
Wow.
Because I remember previously I would have spoken this. A woman can be married, she does not necessarily have to be a wife.
That is the truth.
A woman can make children, she does not necessarily have to be a mother. So in that moment, I think is one of the tests that would actually come forward, to really see. So the 50-50, I think, is based upon circumstance.
Yes.
But the initiative of the man is, probably supposed to stand there in the way that it's supposed to, based upon the make of, how God put things into perspective with respect to that. So finances, I mean, is a big part of it. And
Definitely.
the breakdown actually comes because of a lack of wisdom in operating it.
Oh, yes.
So where the wisdom part is concerned, I wish above all that, some men, because there are actually men that don't know how to handle money.
You are 100% right. They
So,
don't know, they are not good stewards in managing finances. And I have some men who will work really hard, really, really hard, and they will not enjoy the fruits of their labor by mismanagement of funds. And you are right in what you're saying. A woman could be married and not be a wife, because she too plays a role in that as well too, because she also is his helpmeet. She's the one to, guide him and say, honey, I think that we shouldn't spend that amount of money on X, Y, and Z. There is a other alternative. And the wife really does, as you rightfully say, wife, because anybody could get married and go through the whole 9 yards,
whole
and
9 yards.
and not understand the logistics that comes with managing a household day to day, paying of bills, making sure that the house is kept, making sure that the children, once children are involved, keeping everything on the table. A lot of people fall short in those areas as well. And as you say, we not even factor in the fact that there are some husbands that are very controlling where money is. They might just give money to do certain things, and there are some things fall through the crack, a lack thereof. So all these things do play are extremely important. This is why, as I said, there has to be a grounding on both parties' side, on both parties' behalf, in everything that is being done in the marriage,
in the home.
Yeah, and we had to learn too, as individuals, to have those difficult conversations, the ones that get under your skin.
So what helped you to overcome? What was your solace in the moment of actually walking through? Who was the one that filed?
Husband.
The husband filed. Now that is a whole other conversation in itself. Because I mean, mentally, what that could do to a woman, because the multitude of women are the ones that file for divorce are female, right? Based on statistics. So for the male, sorry, to now file for divorce, I mean, that in itself is a journey to overcome mentally. So what from the moment that the divorce was filed?
Was my reaction?
Yeah, not just your reaction, but what helped you in that moment in overcoming? Because it was in that moment that the reality will now hit you that, here what? The home that I once had, the marriage that I once had, is now about to
end.
Yes, it's now about to end life as you know it, coming home to this man or whatever it may be, is now about to end. What was that like for you?
Oh, that was not a nice experience. I mean, when you get married and you go before God and you make that commitment, you do not perceive or think or entertain the idea of not or having a divorce, right? So the first thing, my initial was like, no, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to allow this to happen. And I broke down.
You mean you cried?
Yeah. I cried. I was like, no, this is not happening to me. This is not happening to my marriage. This is not happening to me. And I didn't take it well initially.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't take it well at all. It was a emotional roller coaster. Yeah, emotions. Yeah.
But in that moment, I'm guessing that your acceptance of the fact that the marriage is like about to end was nowhere near in your mind
In my
of accepting.
mind, no, I'm a
No.
fighter.
Oh,
By
okay.
nature, I am a person. I don't tap out until the fat lady sing, as we might say it, in layman's term. And for me, I was like, no. And the other party was like, yes. So some physical, not physical, but some verbal threats had to be made towards me in actually signing documents.
The documents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm proud of you that you are brave enough to admit that. that, threats had to be made for you to actually sign.
Yeah, I was not.
But what happens then? And that is one thing that I always think about. What happens when you're in a position where, okay, because divorce papers is you are saying, I no longer want this, I no
Mm-hmm.
longer want you.
Mm-hmm. Rejection.
So in that moment, I think it's a play on the mental with respect to, am I not good enough?
Definitely.
But I think it also takes a person who knows themselves, like in identity, to be able to substantiate themselves in that moment to say, I am good enough. And if this broke down because it probably was not supposed to last till that do us part, even though that were the vows that we said that do us
Yes,
part.
definitely.
you know so in your direction, divorce is filed, you are now served with papers, you cry, you're on a emotional roller coaster. Kathy is now sitting with documents to sign a divorce petition that she is the respondent to.
Hmm.
What mentally then can she now pick up the pieces of her mental capacity to be able to walk through this process and move on from there? So, what helped you in that moment? What did you do? Did you take counseling? Did you share that with us?
Wow, I love that. I love that question, Hadassah. It takes me right to the point of, saying that at that point in time, as you rightfully say, being served with documents saying that my marriage is no longer on the table and I am now heading to be a divorced woman, right? After, well, initially, as I say, I was forced into signing, threats were made. I went to God. I went to God. That was the time that I really had to go to a higher authority. I couldn't talk to my mom, my
Higher
dad.
authority.
Yes.
Hey.
I couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't talk to my dad. My sister. It's like no matter who you talk to, nobody would understand this thing that this problem that I have to deal with. So I run, I just call him daddy. I run to God. I say, Daddy, tell me what to do with this. Because as I said, threats was made to sign those papers. I wasn't signing. And I didn't know anything about praying and fasting, although
Oh, really?
I didn't know anything about that kind of
So
aspect.
so let me ask this then, point to note, because
Mm-hmm.
we're still on that question with
Mm-hmm.
respect to what helped you through it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you weren't praying, if you weren't talking to God, like, well, I guess that much during the marriage basically, you would say it didn't have the foundation of prayer.
It had the foundation of prayer, but it was weak.
Being that meaning that it's not every day.
It would not have been every day. It would not have been us going to church every Sunday. It would not have it had a lot of like a kind of seesaw kind of thing. One minute we going consistently, then you will see we would drop off and that kind of thing. So there was a lot of highs and lows where where that is concerned.
Okay, okay. Well, so I guess this is where, when you said that divorce was the key to your next level, I'm guessing now that the divorce unlocked a level of you that
Absolutely.
only the divorce could have bring.
Absolutely.
So, in sharing that, is it that you found a greater acknowledgement of who you are, your identity? What was that for you? Because it seems as this divorce just burst you out into not just relationship with God, but it probably taught you who you are. So share now, as of as of 2025 and the divorce being totally finalized. So who is this Cathy now, this next level Cathy?
This next level Cathy is one that is gonna what the Bible will call a remnant out of a remnant, a radical child of God, one that is prepared to do the will of God, submit, be obedient, live a life that is worthy and acceptant. The word of God says that there's going to come a time where we will have to serve God in spirit and in truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be something that you could masquerade or something that you could fake. It has to be something tangible, something real, something unorthodox. It had to be different, because everybody have, these cliches, these hook
Yes,
lines.
God is good, and
God
all
is
the time
good,
God is
and
good.
yeah, God requiring something different, and I fall in that bracket. I'm a radical. I'm a pioneer. I see myself as one, gonna make changes.
Changes. That is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Cathy, I applaud you for that. I applaud you for that. I applaud you for that. Let me just say a pleasant good night to Rona Mahes. I hope I pronounced that correct. Bev, good night. Good night. You're welcome. Tony Gill and St. Paul. Faith, Zion, Luke,
That's
good
me.
afternoon. Okay, Kimberly, Ralph, bless, good evening. So, good evening to all that, would have joined us. And, you all are here. You could ask questions if you have any questions that you want to ask. Anything that you want to share, you could put it in the comment section, and, we will get it in. So, I am grateful now to know this next level Cathy, because
Amen.
I did not know the Cathy before
Oh,
your
she was a
divorce.
hot mess.
She was a don't say a hot mess.
She was a hot mess. She was a quick talker. Real, of, like, what to say, like, real impulsive.
Okay,
No, I can't say that. I have to consult with my father on the
okay.
throne before I
And
make.
before you do
Oh,
anything,
of course, I can't do anything without him.
someone shared I would say it's a perspective. What happened is, they've been crying out to God, and in their crying out, they're wondering, but wait, how come my other family, they are well off, things are moving ahead, and I'm just stuck? And when they continued the story, basically, it reminded me of what you were saying, because financially, their bracket, they weren't experiencing the financial glory that they're supposed to experience. And on top of that, the marriage was already shaky. The thing is, what the person had to figure out is the marriage shaken because of lack of communication, or is it between us, or is it the God Himself that is shaking this marriage? Because what about when it's God Himself that is shaking the marriage? Who then are you going to run to?
I love that.
So he and his he put himself in a position now where he had to now find out what would unlock his next level. And basically, some of the things that he recognized, some of the things that he was tied to in the marriage, is what caused him indirectly to be depleted. So the wealth that he was supposed to experience, because his family is basically people of wealth, they go heading into the marriage now. The person wasn't able to substantiate that level. And now, in the divorce, everything has now been, even though it was taken, everything now has been unlocked again for him at a greater realm. And his one was physical, but here you are now describing the next level of who you became, out of this divorce. And what would you say along the way? Like, at what point coming out of the divorce you realize that you were now evolving into this person?
When I started pursuing the spiritual side of getting to know who Tatian really is, who God called me to be, I realized that a lot of people idolize marriage,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that we get married. Some people feel that the clock running out of time. You know, we have so many different categories as to why people get married. But what if we never really explore the institution of marriage, why God created it in the first place? What is the purpose and all these different things? So that was the direction I needed to go. I needed to understand first what's the real purpose of people getting married, and take away all the wrong desires and now start to put the right apply the right desire towards the institution called marriage.
So when you say the wrong desires, would you say that you entering in that your desires would have been
Misguided.
okay? So
Yeah.
what would have been the basis of, was it that I am in love?
Love had to
For
be.
people online,
Yeah.
for people online, for the people
People online.
online, please, 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 please hear me tonight. If you don't hear anything else, assess your reasoning as to
Desire.
why are you getting married.
Yes.
What is the desire that propels itself? Is it that your blood hot and you want to be able to have sex with that one person and you don't want to be knocking your body from pillar to post?
Is it financial? Are you running from family issues?
Something.
Yeah.
So really have your decisions guided. This is just a point to note here. Before we go further, really have your decisions guided as to how many aspects of my life can this person accommodate for me to successfully say to this person, this man or this woman, till death do us part. So, yeah, as we continue, basically now you're in a place where you have healed, but what was your healing process? I know God was in the midst of it, but is it that you learn to play tennis? That's just an example.
Oh
What
yes, a lot
worked
of
for you? Did you learn to cook
I
better?
I took up
And what would
every
you advise
yeah.
persons who go through a
When
divorce?
you go through a divorce, that is the time where you really need to do something called introspection. You really have to go in, and I'll go back to the point of taking accountability. Now you have to assess yourself from where you were then to
Mm-hmm.
where you want to go. And during the process, you take it step by step, because it's not a 1 day thing, it's not a 1 week thing. It's a everyday thing. It's a everyday effort that when you get up, I am going to be the best that I could be. I'm going to do better than I did yesterday. And who you surround yourself with is a factor. The things that you expose yourself to is a factor. A lot of changes need to take place, because you remember you're going to be estranged from the partner, also their family members, because everybody does pick sides in divorce,
Hey, go ahead.
right? And when they pick sides now, you caught in the middle, because they're saying, well, one will be saying it's she
Is
fault,
she fault? Is he
and
fault?
the
Yes.
nitpicking will start to take place, and like you know, with a big A on your
Yes,
chest,
yes, yes.
the accused,
Right, right, right.
right? And that too could bring a lot of self-esteem issues, a lot of self-shaming issues. It could also, kind of work on your mental and all these different things.
But did you deal with that?
Yes, I did.
So in overcoming now your mental issues, did you have like self affirmations?
I had self affirmations. I had wonderful friends and family along the way that, encouraged me, give me that love and support, because initially I was not speaking of the situation.
So they didn't know, your family didn't know about it?
No, they knew, but I never really give detail. I don't know, married, divorced.
Oh, okay. Well, they finna find out tonight. Good night, family.
Good night,
If y'all would
everyone.
see this eventually.
Yes, so
She's sharing her story now.
they did not know the intricacies of what happened to the marriage, why it fell apart, if it was adultery. They don't know. Nobody didn't really know. So this is me now saying, what really happened. It was
Mm-hmm.
really communication. It wasn't, submission and all these finances also had a part to play,
Yes.
right? But accountability too, because if one willing to take accountability and the other one is not, it can't work,
Yes.
mind you. People think that, okay, if one say, well, okay, I willing to, no, it don't work that way. The two must come in agreement with everything, even when it comes to that aspect of it.
Yes.
And for me, as I said, the main factor, God, and he would have sent a lot of people along the way to really help me, a lot of opportunities. I have developed so much. I, looking back then and now, I think if I had remained married, I would not have accomplished some of the things I would have
Wow.
for today.
Wow.
And the main thing too, I honestly believe, and I could say this with all assurity, I feel if I had remained in that marriage, I wouldn't even have the type of relationship I have with God
With
today.
God. Hence the next level. Hence the next level.
Yeah.
Now you touched on a very, very profound topic, and it is part of the journey that I've recognized along the road with a lot of persons that I've communicated with that went through divorce. The mother-in-law, the father-in-law, where you live, where you are located, plays such a significant role. I mean, I know, people go through stuff, and there may be times that you actually have to live home. There may be times that you have to live in the house with your in-laws, but the kind of crazy stories I have heard with the in-laws factor of
I have
things,
that
it is
experience.
it is crazy,
Yes, it is.
right? So I mean, even mothers and fathers, I don't think that they understand the role that some of them play in breaking down some of these marriages.
Yes. I can tell you
I am
that
t-
is
hmm,
you see that what you touch on there, and stuff, that is what you mean. That is so true. You see, outside influence,
yes,
and not just saying outside influence, it could be friends, but you see, family do the most damage in marriages. That, let me say, a marriage, even strong marriages and all, they tend to try to infiltrate their ideologies, what they think and what they feel.
yes.
And sometimes, based on the closeness of the partner with their parents,
Mm-hmm.
plays a very integral role.
You mean like a mama's boy?
Yes, it's had the mama's boy, it's had the parent pleasers, and they don't understand that, listen, the Bible says leave and cleave, meaning that
Say that louder again and say it
leave,
that they could hear.
leave and cleave. When you get married, your husband or your wife becomes the person that you need to please. Not your mother, not your father, not your children, not your boss, nobody. God. He's the only authority, the high authority that you will go to and seek refuge in when there is
When
trouble.
yes,
You
yes.
see, when you start to go to mother, to father, to sister, to brother, to partner, to YouTube, to
Well, I mean,
to
for the sake
outside
of
of
pleasing
pleasing
these
these
people,
people.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
for the sake of pleasing people, don't do it. I would strongly advise, do not do it. If it's not godly advice, don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean, the sit down sessions that some of the in-laws have. I mean, I've witnessed some of these craziness that happens with the in-laws situation, and I find it highly appalling that persons who are now relatives cannot accept the fact that they are now relatives and the family is now this man's wife or this woman's husband and children.
That's right.
So, with that being understood, once that understanding comes into place, things is able to work a bit smoother. But as long as that is fought, then you have a problem. Now, you know they have an example where if it is that your husband come to pick you up in work and his mother is sitting in the front seat of the
Oh
car,
my. Ooh.
who does the front seat belong to? So I would love to know if anybody can,
Chime in on
can
that.
chime in, if anybody's online, if anybody's there, and you wanna
Well,
comment,
I guess the audience
who
would
does
know my answer
who
by
does
now.
the front seat belong
The
to?
friends, it belongs to the wife.
You would say the front seat
Of
belong to the
course,
wife. So
most
you know,
definitely.
not everyone would have that view, right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my mama radical, so
Not everyone will have that view because the leave and cleave aspect is not.
applied.
No, it's not. It's not. So here now is where I want to take time out just to give you just a couple minutes, just a few minutes, just to go back in your mind from the beginning and just wrap it up as to where it started and the forgiveness that you basically allowed to come into place, where you're at now and where you're going. Just a few, just share with the people, as we are about to.
Wrap up.
Hmm.
Right. Forgiveness is very important. Forgiveness, first of all, to yourself and then to the individual that is, in the situation with you. You can never move on if you don't have forgiveness. That I can tell you.
Hmm.
And it has to come from the heart. It cannot be a word of mouth forgiveness where I say I forgive you, but if I hear your name called, ooh,
Oh gosh.
you cringe.
Father, forgive me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Or if I hear somebody talk about you, you're gonna hear all the dirty parts about the person to join on as a banter.
Yes.
You have Yeah, genuine forgiveness is required in these type of situations. You have to, and you also have to repent because remember the institution of marriage full firstly and formally belongs to God, right? It belongs to God. It does not belong to anybody but him. And you know, with divorce, you're breaking that. You're coming outside of that. So you gotta go to God, you gotta say, God, I repent. I'm asking for forgiveness for the error of my ways on my behalf, on my spouse's behalf. You have to be brutally, 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 brutally honest, and you have to be brutally, brutally transparent with that aspect of it, because a lot of people love to say, I forgive the person, but they still hold on to these things internally,
Hmm.
and it does a lot of damage. It actually hinders to have any type of relationship with others. They won't because everything has been broken from
From
that.
that,
Yeah, so
yeah.
you will have trust issues. You will have, all kind of different things depending on what type of marriage you're coming out of. If it's abuse or whatever it is, you know, will have to deal with all these things if you do not genuinely forgive that
Wow.
person.
Wow. Yeah. You know, I'm grateful for the changes that you can say that you identified in yourself. I am also grateful that you have reached to that place that you could actually sit on a platform and, share what you came from and where you are now. The fact that a divorce caused you to draw closer to God, I mean, that is mind blowing in itself because it means that something that is so bad, so hurtful, that took probably everything from inside of you, now put you in a place that propel you higher to your higher self. And I commend you for actually being able to share now. And I wish you all the best. I wish you marriage again.
Woo!
I wish you marriage again.
Thank you so
Right? She's single for all those who are looking. Take a good look at her. Take a good look at her. She's single for the men, right? Send in your applications. I will be vetting it,
Oh my
right?
lord.
Two passport size photos, right? Two form of
Background
IDs,
check.
a utility bill, right? A background check.
Medical.
She's single, right? So, at that place now, how are you with respect to marriage? Let's just wrap up and have that conversation in wrapping up.
Ooh.
Where are you with respect to marriage in your mind,
To
mentally?
be honest, to be really brutally honest, in this moment right now, I am enjoying my freedom. I'm not saying that if God does not, he has to be the one to really, because remember the first time around, I made the mistake. My desires wasn't right.
Hey,
My
but
mind
yeah,
wasn't right.
I know
But now
all
that
of
I'm
this,
in the
but
right
I just
place,
asked for two passport size photos. I just put it
but
out there.
but now that I'm in the right place, yes, I wouldn't say no.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't say no. I
All
wouldn't
right,
say no.
nice. So, back to the application. She said she wouldn't say no, right? So, I thank you so much for, being here with us this evening, for sharing your part and for growing and glowing from it. I mean, a lot of persons don't really come to that place to really be able to share. They don't have community. This is why we're about to spearhead these podcasts. We are about to build community for persons who
Definitely.
are single now because of way of marriage. You lost a spouse, you're divorced, you have gone through something. We are now here for you. So, in wrapping up, we want to say thank God for everything. So Kimberly Ralph said, may the Almighty God continue to guide you on your new journey. More blessings to you, Miss Cathy Ann Luke. So
Kim,
she
thank you
is
so much.
she's giving you her well wishes, and it is really needed in this time because I mean moving forward into a new journey is it's not an easy thing
No,
for
it's not.
anyone to face and to actually know that you have to first face failure before you face success
Success. That's right.
is one of the hardest lessons I think we will ever learn in
Yes,
life,
yes,
right? So we thank you for the well wishes, Miss Ralph, and for everyone that tune in now, for everyone that will tune in after, we thank you as well. So off grid for 2 minutes, off topic for 2 minutes. This is the first taping, this is the first airing. You all wouldn't believe the hills and valleys we would have went through to even get this podcast aired tonight. But it will be up, and even if it is one line in this airing on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you see it skating across the internet that is supposed to touch somebody, it will do its job. I said, by hell or high waters, we are coming live here tonight. And here we are. So this is the first one, and look out for us. We're going to be on at least every Friday, not next Friday though. Next Friday will be out, unfortunately. But the Friday after that, we're going to be on again. And this time around, we're going to be dealing with, well, wives or husbands generally. But we will be dealing with out of the marital home where a spouse would have died, and overcoming that, letting persons know you are not alone anymore. We are now building community. We now have mediators on board, counselors, persons that actually see the vision and know that, hear what, you all are not to face it alone anymore. Welcome. So join us, like our pages, subscribe to our